for news, quite tense. And then it was lovely to see her face this morning. She was quite upbeat. Quite pleased. She was in the car on her way out to visit the mother of one of the prisoners, her friends in prison, and also the wife of one of the other dual nationals in prison. But her ankle tag's been taken off, very relieved to be able to leave the flat finally. But obviously there's an element of we've got the meeting next week.
Joining us now is Nader Hashemi. He's the director of the Center of Middle East Studies at the University of Denver in Colorado. Thank you so much for your time. Just tell us, why has Iran taken such a tough stance against Zaghari-Ratcliffe? In that soundbite we heard there from Reza, he says Iran's government says it's not because of this $400 billion that London owes to Tehran. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that. Let's be clear. This woman has been taken hostage by the Islamic Republic of Iran, as they've taken dozens of other Iranians with dual nationality hostage, as a way of exacting and using these people for leverage in terms of Iran's troubled relationship with the West. So I think that's fundamentally what's going on. This is immoral, it's illegal, but this is very much, the stock in trade of how the Islamic Republic of Iran conducts its international diplomacy.
Now, in the bigger context of what's happening between Iran and Western powers, does this all ultimately boil down to the nuclear deal and Britain's position on it?
It's very much related. I mean, she's been taken hostage to get concessions from the West. And so she's not going to be released until the hardline security establishment in Iran that has seized her can claim some propaganda victory in exchange for her release. So it was mentioned in your report from your correspondent in Tehran that there is this arms deal that has gone awry. It was an arms deal that traces back over 40 years. Britain owes the Islamic Republic of Iran millions of dollars for money that it took from Iran, but didn't sort of, in return, send over the arms that were agreed upon. So if this issue can be dealt with, then I think Nazanin would be released. In fact, her husband Richard Ratcliffe has explicitly stated that if Britain were to return the money that is rightly owed to Iran for arms that were purchased but not delivered, then this could unlock the problem, and she would be on, I think, a plane back to London very soon. So very much Boris Johnson, who is claiming here that he has done everything possible, I don't think he's being honest. I think if this issue related to the arms deal that was signed could be resolved, then I think this woman would be freed.
So why does Britain simply not pay back Iran the money that it owes it?
Well, I think it wants to keep the pressure on Iran. It views that if Iran gets the money that belongs to Iran, then that will sort of increase Iran's leverage in the Middle East. So Britain wants to work very closely with the United States, particularly under the Trump administration that was playing hardball with Iran. There was very little opportunity for movement here in terms of solving this problem. Perhaps now that Joe Biden is president and he's signaled an interest in a diplomatic resolution of the problems that the West has with Iran, this might create some opportunity to solve this problem. But it's going to require intense diplomacy and a lot of pressure on Boris Johnson to play a constructive role here. Up until now, I don't think Britain has been playing a constructive role. It has elevated its relationship with Washington, D.C. over securing the release of Nazanin.
We'll have to leave it there for now. Nader Hashemi, thank you so much for that insight.